On today's Toy Spot, we'll be having a look at the Mattel DC Universe Classics Azrael Batman and Batman the Knightfall Collection. Really, another re-release initially of pre-existing characters. Both Azrael Batman and Batman have seen a DC Universe release. We'll obviously get into comparisons when we get the package opened up. The real reason Spot obviously picked up this set, it's probably the same reason a lot of collectors picked up the set, it's because we actually get a more accurate, comic-accurate Azrael Batman. Again, we'll get into that when we open up the package. On the back of the package, picture of the two figures that make up the set. This apparently is made in China, indicated by this very large black sticker. The biography on Azrael says Jean-Paul Vallée was trained from birth to become the assassin enforcer Azrael. While investigating his father's murder, he crossed paths with Batman and learned a better way to fight evil. When Bruce Wayne's spine was broken by Bane, Azrael stepped into the role of Batman. However, Azbat grew increasingly violent, forcing Wayne to battle back from his paralyzing injury and take down the frightening vigilante. Statistics: first appearance as Azrael, Batman, Sword of Azrael, number 1, as Batman, Batman 498. Real name, Jean-Paul Vallée. Occupation, costumed crime fighter. Base of operations, Batcave. Special abilities, trained, brainwashed, and genetically enhanced by the system. Expert fighter, bulletproof and flameproof armor. The read-up on Batman says, as a young boy, Bruce Wayne saw his parents fall victim to a senseless crime. His focused purpose became to avenge their deaths by fighting Gotham's criminal elements as Batman. The people of Gotham City see Batman as an almost mythical figure, able to tame any adversary, no matter how powerful. To throw at crime, he relies on his awesome deductive powers, sheer physical speed, and assortment of high-tech weaponry and unique crime-fighting aids. Statistics for Batman: first appearance, Detective Comics number 27, real name Bruce Wayne. Occupation, CEO, philanthropist, crime fighter. Base of operations, Gotham City. Special abilities, detective, genius-level intelligence. Arsenal of gadgets, inventor, expert in most known forms of martial arts. Criminologist, computer expert, photographer, photographic memory, stealth and espionage techniques, and escape artist, expert escape artist. That's a lot, really, for Batman. True, it is true, but a lot. Definitely a lot. Certainly a lot for this reviewer to read. What I am going to do is take a bit of a break. Going to get these figures out of package. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at as Batman and Batman. Definitely more on the way, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. The first figure we'll have a look at, and there he goes. I knew he was going to fall. Oh well. First figure we're going to have a look at is the Batman that comes with this set. No, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. This is, in fact, yet another of the exact same Batman we've gotten right from the very beginning. Turn his head there like that. If I bring in what Spot can probably consider to be the closest accurate figure, it's probably the DC Universe Wave 1 Batman. You'll see that there are obviously a little slight differences in color. The costume on the DC Universe Wave 1 Batman, a little bit darker in the gray. Cape, everything else is really the exact same on the figure. I also notice that the utility belt is a little bit darker also. And obviously the biggest difference between the two figures is the addition of the black in the cowl of Batman. I like this Batman. I always have. I think he's a nice enough Batman, even though, granted, we have gotten this mold used so many times over the course of the DC Universe life. We've generally from what I can remember, we've generally gotten this figure mostly as a black and gray costumed version. The one thing we really haven't gotten a lot of is a basic gray and blue costumed version. Except really this one right here. Likely, there probably was a 2-pack Batman, because I mean those Batmans were just a dime a dozen. There was probably a blue and gray version of Batman released along the way, probably in some 2-pack with some obscure character or some character that they were re-releasing. But there hasn't really been a lot of blue and gray costumed Batman. You'll also notice too that the bat symbol on this Batman is quite a bit larger than this one right here. Now, even though I like this Batman, this kind of reminds me of some of the old classic comics of Batman. One thing I really like about this particular Batman, even though it is the exact same figure, one thing I really like is the fact that it has more a DC Superpowers version, or DC Superpowers style to Batman. Really like that it's just a basic blue. You see the whites of his eyes. Just basic gray. It works. It definitely works. And for me, if I was to display a Batman along with the other Superpowers inspired DC Universe figures that we've gotten, I would be more inclined to display this one than I would be to display this one. Just simply because this looks more like the toy, this one looks more like the comic, just because of this black here. My real problem then comes with this right here. Let's zoom in. Let's join this adventure together. The one thing that they always do, and I really wish that they wouldn't, the one thing that Mattel always is notorious for is whenever we get a new Batman and he's packaged with another figure, which Azrael is over there right now, but the one thing that they always are notorious for doing is whenever we get a Batman packaged with another figure, they always feel the need to do something to him. They can't just simply leave him on his own. The only one that really stands out in my mind was the one that was repacked with the Robin, which was from the Grundy wave. But this Batman has also been re-released with Clayface, in which he had clay all over his suit. This one, you can see he's got a big gash across his chest. Not a lot of collectors really are going to collect a figure and put him out on display solely because there's something different about the costume. Oh, he's bandaged. Okay, well, I'm going to put him on display as opposed to a regular Batman. I think I can speak probably for a lot of collectors out there who are very happy just to display a Batman, that there's nothing wrong with him. This did not need to be there, Mattel. It did not need to be there. It's nice, but my feeling is, unless you're playing with the figure and this can be part of whatever story you're acting out, we did not need a big gash across Batman. In fact, had the gash not been there, I think he would have been an ideal replacement for this one, as I mentioned already, with the Superpowers figures. This is an ideal Batman to be with these Superpowers figures. Unfortunately, when we put this with the other Superpowers figures now, poor Batman's going to have a big gash across his chest. And that's not good. That's not good for anybody. In the way of Batman's articulation, moving aside from Spot's rant, Batman does have a ball-jointed head, the same as really every other DC Universe figure. He has a pin and socket shoulder, rotation in the bicep, bend in the elbow, rotation in the hand. He's got the upper torso bend, rotation in the waist. Legs go forward and back, out. Rotation in the thigh, a bend at the knee, finally a hinged foot. I really like a lot of times re-releases of these figures because the paint always seems better. Going back, of course, to the original Batman here, really, really dark. And his flesh color is a little bit more tanned also. I think this just is a much more subtle and a far superior figure, if you ask me. But I also like the fact that with re-release figures, the joints are always extremely stiff. Like the arms are stiff, the legs are not loose. That is good with me. Yeah, overall, despite the fact that this is a throw-in figure, we know they were only throwing this in as a filler. This Batman is really, really nice. And I wish, as Spot puts his finger up to his imaginary head, I really wish I could think of, I don't think there has been any other Batman that's been released in a blue and gray color scheme aside from Series 1, or the Wave 1 Batman. Just really a shame. Oh, there's a bug there. Where'd that bug come from? He'll be gone soon. I don't know where that bug came from. Who knows? Yeah, I really, really like this Batman. On a scale of 1 to 10, even though he has been re-released countless times, the blue and the gray work really well. Shame really that he has to have the gash. I'm still going to give him a 7. And there you have Batman right there. By the way, that bug, I don't know where that bug came from. He's flying in, he's flying out. It's kind of just hanging out. I don't know. Having a look at the Azrael that Spot has dropped. I really, really like this figure. And one, obviously, the main reasons why I bought this set was obviously because of this guy right here. He is a really, really nice figure. Now, granted, he is a reuse of an initial initial Azrael Batman. Surprisingly, that Spot just flubbed. He actually came from the Bane wave, which is actually this guy right here. Now, I love this Batman, and I think a lot of collectors really, really like this Batman. But the big glaring problem with this figure was the color scheme. Now, if you followed the Knightfall series, there was the Knightfall, there was Night Quest, Night's End. By the time he had the singular visor armor, as you see right here, Azbat kind of was moving away from the whole blue and gold concept of his color scheme, and he was moving into a red. I think more importantly, this one right here best fits. You know, if they're going to incorporate this figure as part of the DC Universe wave, it would have really been nice if they had incorporated this with the original Azbat head, which was essentially just a Batman cowl that really had no mouth area. It was just basically a closed-off mouth. I think there was a DC Superheroes Batman that was released, I think his name was Stealth Batman or something, that had no mouth, and he was just all a black color scheme. If I could find that figure and somehow do a head swap and paint it in this metallic blue, I definitely see a real cool custom. May not be completely accurate to the comics, but at least then we could get, or even if Mattel could just go back and re-release this figure with a Bane, you know, re-release it. It's very unlikely they'd re-release it with a Collect and Connect figure, but I would love to see them go back and redo this figure. There he goes again. Redo this figure and give us a regular cowled Azbat head. Because I love this figure. I love it quite a bit. It was one of my favorite figures from this wave. It's just really a shame that based on the way he was designed, he was the wrong color scheme. So I'm putting him here. Whether he's going to stand or not, he is not. Unfortunately, he keeps falling because he's so back heavy due to the cape that he's wearing. He's probably not going to stand. Ah, there he goes again. There he goes again. But yeah, it definitely was the reason I wanted to get this set, was to get a true Night Quest version of Azbat. Little jarring, I suppose, to the fact that Azbat was a red, as opposed to obviously a blue Batman color design. But this figure perfectly captures a good figure, but really the wrong color choice. Now at least it's the right color. Aside really from the red swap out from the blue and the red in the gauntlets, aside from that, it is essentially the exact same figure. There's nothing different about the figure at all. The back is the same. Masks are the exact same as well. But I also noticed too with the original Batman, for some reason his cowl or the armor end of it is higher up on the actual helmet, as you can see right here. Where you look at this re-release of Bane, or this release of Azrael, his helmet actually is further up on the torso. Either that or the armor is further down. I'm probably thinking it's more further down because this one's riding a little higher up. But you can certainly get a lot more movement out of this head than you could with the other one, at least from what I've found with my figure. I just really, really love this figure. And again, sometimes re-releases I know are just cash grabs, but the fact that we got finally an accurate version of Azbat depicted in this costume is definitely win-win. His articulation, he has the ball-jointed head. It kind of it does look up, which is nice. It doesn't really go further down though. He's got a pin socket shoulders, rotation in the bicep, bend at the elbow, rotation in the hand. He's got the upper torso bend, rotation in the waist. Legs go out, back, out, rotation in the thigh. One of the only few figures as well from the DC Universe wave that actually has a double jointed knee and also a hinged foot. He's definitely a very, very, very cool figure. How many more times can Spot say very? And you know, I think the thing is too, a lot of collectors probably are looking to pick up this set for this guy and merely thinking that this Batman is a throwaway or just added fluff, as it were. But this is a really good Batman too. I mean, don't overlook that this Batman is just yet another inclusion of the exact same mold, because this Batman stands out for me as one of my favorite versions of this Batman mold. I like this Batman, but I love this one more as part of the DC Superpowers lineup. If I was to have them on display in that shelf, paired up in the DC Super Friends or Superpowers line, I would go with this Batman more so than I would go with this Batman. Just really a shame that he's got that scar. Azbat, on the other hand, I'm going to give him a 9. Just goes to show, really, you can have a fantastic figure, and just if there's something slightly off, whether it be a paint scheme or something else, the figure just seems off. And I think what they did was they took a really good figure, which is this figure right here, and just simply gave it the right color scheme. And this is a very worthy reason to pick up a re-release 2-pack for this guy right here. So you can't go wrong with this set. I would highly recommend getting it. If you have been picking up the other, I guess, Batman Knightfall figures, you can't overlook this. I think this is a figure that you really should pick up as well. At least it's now an accurate color scheme. So that's definitely a fantastic inclusion. Today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the DC Universe. We're looking at Azrael Batman and Batman. We're looking at the re-release 2-pack. Definitely worth picking up. Thanks for watching, guys. Certainly stick around. More Toy Spots heading your way as always. And I'll see you guys next time.